Hello, everyone. Welcome back to When Shooting's Life podcast, episode 11. I'm your host, Kue Lee, with my co-host, Khang. Today, we have a returning guest, but this time he is the main guest, and we will dive into his shooting career. He's a master class level shooter in USPSA, and he goes by the name of Tanner Liang. How's it going, man?
It's going good, bro. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, definitely. All right, so before we officially start this podcast, we like to ask our guests five random questions. All right, are you
Right
ready?
on, let's do it.
All right, first question is lose a leg or have three legs?
Three legs.
Damn, that's kind of gay.
You should have asked lose a leg or lose an arm. That would have been harder.
Okay. All right, next one. Be friend with Peter Griffin or Patrick Starr?
Peter Griffin, dude. That's a good one, though. Peter
Yeah.
I
Griffin.
love these questions.
All right, live in California or New York?
Tally.
Ooh,
That's actually a really tough one.
that is tough.
Because because with both states, I do know that like if you're out of the state's actually pretty damn cool. Um,
Yeah, it's a whole different game out of the city. Mhm.
yeah. I'm gonna go with Cali. I like Cali.
Yeah, I
I think the
mean
food's better in Cali.
yeah, because the mayor, is it the governor or mayor Newsom? He's the governor, right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's pro Second Amendment, so
As long as you give them free guns,
yeah.
can you still steal stuff and just walk out with it? Is that
Y-
still a thing, or did they fix
yes,
that yet?
it is. All right, so next one. If an alien offer you to visit their planet and become their god, but you can't come back, would you take the offer?
No. I
Like,
love my family too much to leave them.
all right. But, imagine if you're like the god in the alien planet, and now you get to play with all these aliens, females with three titties, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
So,
was gonna say, Koo's imagining hot aliens. You got to start with that. He forgot to mention that
You're
part.
gonna get me in trouble, bro. Who's trying to
all
get
right.
us in trouble?
Ted, you haven't heard like half the questions Goose asked.
Yeah,
We
I
were
watched
talking about
another one of your guys'
sexy.
podcasts, and I was like,
Did you watch what we were talking about sexy ghosts?
yes, yes. And I was like, if that was me, I'll definitely get in trouble.
Okay. All right, last one. Do you think it's considered cheating if you were secretly talking to your wife's clone?
Yes,
Damn.
just because I know she's listening.
All right.
No, you can't get away with that. Can't get away with that.
Yeah, dude.
People do have clones. They're called twins. They
It's
are
I
straight
feel
up genetic clones.
yeah. So my wife and I actually talked about this a while ago, and it was like,
Huh?
if you do anything in secret from your spouse, that's considered cheating. And I was like, okay,
Ooh,
I guess. Because there,
ooh.
okay, so I will admit, there's a one time when
Mm-hmm.
I was dipping, so
Mm-hmm.
I do these little thins.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't like when I did that, and I was like sneaking
Mm-hmm.
them, and then she got mad at me,
Uh-huh.
but I was like, I need it, I'm addicted. And then went to dip, and she was like, "Well, if you dip, I'm gonna freaking leave you." So I was like sneaking it at work and stuff, and
Dang.
then she found out, dude. And then she was like, "You do it in secret. It's basically you cheating." And I was like, "Damn, like I had to really look inward on it and change me as a man."
But is it really cheating when you're not fucking them dips though?
I mean, that's what I was thinking, but she's also
Okay.
white, so.
All right.
Our opinion doesn't matter, Koo.
All
Our opinion doesn't matter.
right. All right, that's the five random questions. So, Tanner, for the viewers that doesn't know you, can you give us a little bit background about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, if you guys don't know my name is Tanner Liang. I grew up in Minnesota. This is where I'm originally from. I'm only 25 years old. I have a young family, two kids, one on the way. Recently just got out of the military, active duty Air Force, stationed primarily in Florida for the past 5, 6 years. Just moved back to Minnesota now to be with my more intermediate family. And yeah, met up with Ku at a few matches. Met him through Facebook, met Christian through Facebook, and Yeah, now we're just here.
All right. All right,
Tanner, you're only
let's
25. I thought you were much older than that.
Yeah, dude, I'm a
Dang,
baby. The
you're
fa
just a kid.
the facial hair does it for
yeah,
me.
it's the bear.
Yeah.
All right, so
Shoot. Now, when I was 25, I had nothing going on in my life. I was trying to talk to this one girl and she didn't even like me, but joke's on her. She's married to me now.
Hell yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I have to kidnap mine. It's a monk joke. Never mind. All right. Uh, um okay, so let's just jump into the question. So Tanner, I remember we had this talk and you told me that your dad was a former law enforcement, correct?
Well, he still is. Yeah,
Oh,
he still
okay.
is.
He still is. Okay. So the question I have for you is what influence did your dad law enforcement career have on you?
That's a good one. I like that question actually. Um, Honestly, growing up, I always saw him as like a superhero in a sense. It was kind of like for one, I grew up in a pretty okay neighborhood. Kind of like suburbia Minnesota. Most of my friends are all white. Everyone came from like a middle class to upper class neighborhood. So I can't say I came out the mud, but um, there are definitely the struggles there. But anyways, yeah. So I think a lot of the morals when I was growing up was always kind of support law enforcement, understand that what they do for us every day is it's pretty hard and intense. And knowing kind of what my dad was going through every day, just from seeing cops or watching like a police movie and be like, hey, that's what my dad does, even though he, maybe doesn't, whatever. But that's just how I kind of envision him. I do remember a lot of times though, a lot of missed birthdays, a lot of missed holidays, a lot of missed sporting events, or just not seeing him because he's working overtime or something like that. And my mom, thank God, my mom, she's a trooper, but she would always tell us, "Oh yeah, Daddy's working. Daddy works for you guys. He works for his community and whatever." So yeah, I always saw my dad as like the superhero. And growing up, honestly, that I think that really set the tone for how I live my life because I'm always the kind of guy who's like, well, if no one else is going to do it, I'll freaking do it. It's kind of like that saying of like, um, who shall I send? Send me, kind of thing, kind of corny, whatever. But that's just kind of been my mentality. And yeah, yeah. So he was a big influence.
So is that one of the reasons why you joined the Air Force?
I would say part of it was the main reason I joined the military was because when I mentioned it, kind of when I was graduating high school, I was like, well, like I have a bunch of friends who joined the military, but they're all going different branches. They all want to do different things. A lot of them were going guard because they didn't want to leave home. At the time, I was like, well, I want to join too. A lot of my friends are telling me to go guard, but I was like, I kind of want to go active duty. If I'm going to do this, I want to do it. Let's go full send. And my dad was like, hey, something you didn't know about me. I was actually going to join the army, but I couldn't because I had you guys.
Hmm.
Um, so for me, it was kind of like one of those things where it was like, well, I'll be the first one in my family to be in the military. Like I can start that, I guess, tradition per se, if we even started this. So like that was one thing. And another reason why was because I actually wanted to go in to be essentially a badass. I wanted to go in as a TAC P. Got hurt during
Nice.
training, ended up not going as a TAC P. But
Oh.
yeah, so I kind of wanted to be specialized. I joined the Air Force because I wanted to be different, and everybody literally was telling me, "Go Air Force, don't go all these military, don't go all the military branches. Air Force lifestyle is just a lot better." So yeah, that's pretty much why I went Air Force.
Ku, do you know what TAC Ps are?
No, I was just gonna ask you about that. What is Tech P?
Christian, do you know, or do you want me to explain it?
I have a rough idea. So essentially, it's kind of like um, from what I understand, it's been a while since I watched like that one cool documentary with all of them like rappelling out of like helicopters and stuff. But it's kind of like specialized medics, from
Oh
what I
no, so
remember.
I think you're thinking of PJs or Rescuemen.
Oh, okay, yeah. See, I'm thinking the wrong
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. So for those listening who don't know, Air Force actually, we don't just touch planes. Air Force has like probably the most specialized, I guess, career fields that you can choose from. So obviously there's EOD, TAC-P, there's SEER specialist, combat weathermen, combat controllers, pararescuemen, and there's even subcategories to that. But basically, a TAC-P is pretty much that you are you're attached to an army unit, and you're basically the air to ground liaison. So if they need any close air support or any air support at all, you're the dude coordinating, um, where to put bombs on warheads on foreheads, I guess you can say. So that was that. That's what I wanted to do.
Have you
That's right.
I was gonna ask you, have you ever flew a plane before or a jet?
Flown myself?
Yeah.
No, I'm too stupid to do that.
Oh, damn.
I
Okay.
know, right?
All right,
You ever thought
so
about getting a pilot's license?
I actually did think about it. Because it would like, I mean, so my job in the Air Force, I was a crew chief essentially.
Mhm.
I was able to fly with the aircraft, but mainly I just worked on them. So like I refuel them, I would do
Mhm.
inspections on them, change out parts, make sure everything was good for the air crew. But basically like learning that side of the aircraft, I was like, dang, this thing would actually be pretty cool to fly. And then
Mhm.
I actually had a lot of friends who were doing maintenance with me, and they were actually getting their pilot license. And like, just us working every day, they'd be like, oh yeah, this is what this does. Oh yeah, you can op check this by doing this thing. And I'm like, how do you know this? And like, well, we just fly planes. And I was like, that's actually pretty freaking dope. And then like when I remember getting off work all the time and I listened to like those YouTube videos of pilots talking to air traffic control and like just the verbiage of them talking, how they're able to repeat everything and how they only had to listen to a certain amount of information to know exactly what to do. I was like, that's awesome. And I thought about it, but then I looked at how much it costs to do it, and yeah, I don't know.
It's so expensive. Yeah. I was looking at it for a little bit too, and so I have a couple Air Force friends, and they're doing the same thing. They're also doing like maintenance stuff, and so they're also getting their private pilot's license as well. So that's why I was brought that up. Um, yeah, yeah. Like for the TAC P stuff, I was gonna tell Koo that from what I remember, the stories are that like all the guerrilla fighters like the Taliban and Al Qaeda, they figured out that if you shoot the guy who's talking on the radio, the bombs stop.
Oh
So you
wow,
you find the TAC P and you shoot him first. Those are the
mm,
stories that I heard. I
that's
don't I
crazy.
don't, I don't know if you heard those stories, Tanner.
No, but maybe it's a sign. Maybe it's a good thing
Mhm.
that I didn't go.
I mean, if you want to be a pilot, you could still be a pilot with the help of DI, you know what I
That is true.
mean? I'm just,
I mean, we live in Minnesota too, so it's.
I'm just kidding. All right. So, how was the Air Force firearm training compared to other military branches?
Okay, this is gonna be a good one. Uh, Basically, in my time of the service, from I think I served from 2018 to 2024, I shot 4 to 5 times,
Mm,
and that's basically my yearly qualification. And it wasn't even on pistols; it was just all rifle. Basically, how the Air Forces ran. If you're not in a combat AFSC or combat MOS, you rarely touch a gun. You just have to pass whatever doctrine that they bring out to you, and like they check a box and they're like, "Hey, you're good to go." Even though you know you have bare surface level knowledge. So yeah, I rarely touched a gun in the military. Maybe I might have shot an extra a little bit more prior to deployment for like my deployment training, but other than that, no, dude, it's pretty whack.
How was the food and lodging compared to the other branches?
Now that I will say I do appreciate that. I remember a lot of TDYs I went on, which is just training missions within the states, or maybe you might go out of state, whatever, but it's all just training. And I do know that the Air Force always had to show off their budget, especially compared to other branches. There was a few times where we TDY'd with some Army guys and Marines, and the Marines were literally sleeping in tents on the airstrip. Army guys were in hotels, but they were like double the triple bunked, while all of us Air Force guys, we had our own hotel room, had a pool, we had meal vouchers. So like we got, we can go out and eat while those guys had to eat MREs or they had to go eat on the base at the DFAC, but like we were out eating restaurants and going to bars and whatnot. So yeah, it's pretty good.
Man, everybody hated you guys, huh?
Oh yeah, they did. They always wanted to come out. I mean, it was cool though because
Uh,
we always went out with the officers, like the pilots and
yeah.
stuff, because we were really close to the
Mhm.
air crew, and obviously, those
Nice.
guys got money, so they were always
Mhm.
feeding us beer and whatnot. same pair of us.
Do you
Nice.
remember which rifle you guys were shooting in the Air
It
Force?
was a M4A1.
Okay. Do you think those training helped you do you think it helped you become a better rifle shooter, or do you think that you had to learn on your own to become a better rifle shooter?
Definitely learned on my own.
Okay.
And it's funny that you brought that up because I actually talked to some of the CADM guys. So the CADM guys are the instructors for the Air Force. They're attached with Air Force Security Forces, which is like MPs. But they have like a subcategory for like, CADM or canine handlers, whatever it is, right? And so they're the instructors who teach all Air Force, big Air Force, how to shoot their guns. And I actually talked to them afterwards, and I was like, hey, like when you guys come up with curriculum to teach these guys, do you guys come up with the curriculum on your own, like between you and the other instructors, or is it like sent off from like Secretary of the Air Force all the way down to you guys? And they're like, oh, it's basically big Air Force. We have like a list of guidelines that we have to check off, and it's just like it's basically just to get someone to pass. Um, so yeah, they don't teach; they just teach you how the gun works, how to
Hmm.
disassemble it, how to field strip it, and then shoot it.
Interesting.
Speaking of MPs in the Air Force, so have you heard any news about? We're never going to get sponsored by SIG, but have you heard any news about? So that there was that airman who was killed by his own M18
Mhm,
just the other week. I think so. So the pistols banned just at that one base, which is I think it's Warren
mhm.
over in Wyoming. I don't know if the Air Force has done anything else besides that.
Yeah, no, I haven't heard anything else either. Just that. Very sad though.
Yeah.
I think it's horrible. I think it's absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely been kind of a known thing, and they've been just been trying to sweep it under the rug for so long that all the ghosts are starting to catch up with them.
Absolutely. And I was actually just talking in a group chat about that earlier too, because a lot of my friends were like, "Oh, has this been the first documented death?" And I was like, "I don't think it's been the first death, but I think it's been the death of a service member."
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
but I mean, just talking to other friends in different branches, like a lot of like, especially the Marines and their MA teams, they've
Hmm.
had a lot of problems.
Hmm.
But like you just said, everything seems to get swept under the rug. It's like,
Yeah.
and then I guess now eventually it's all these little things that are just stacking,
Hmm.
and unfortunately, someone lost their life to it.
Yeah, that's one
Yeah, and
thing. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say there's a lot of holster companies that they're dropping their support for the P320s because they're saying
Yep.
that if SIG is gonna blame the holster every single time, why are we bothering to make a holster for you if you're just going to tell the end user to just come and sue us? So at this point, I don't even know why Safari. Well, I guess there's more money selling P320 holsters for as Safariland than there is for some smaller boutique company who's making like appendix carry rigs.
Hmm.
But I even if I were Safariland, if every single time a service gun went off and I got blamed for it, I would seriously consider just dropping support for the P320 and just say, hey, you guys can go get an alien gear for all I care.
Yep. And I don't know how the logistics works too, especially with like contracts or whatever, whether it's DoD or local law enforcement, whatever. But yeah, I would assume they'd be like, all right, guys, like you guys can keep blaming us, and screw
Hmm.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So, uh, correct me if I'm wrong. So I remember we had this talk, right? In Florida, you had your concealed carry in Florida, right? At the age of 18.
Correct.
Okay. So what
They
was
do
it like?
18 in Florida?
Yes, so I actually didn't find that out until obviously I was 18, but you have to
Dang.
be active duty or
Oh, okay.
law enforcement or something like that. Because I know that when I went to get it, I didn't have to do any classes. The only thing I had to show them was my either my military orders or my military ID. And I guess that was sufficient enough to say, hey, this guy is qualified to carry a gun. So,
Nice. Nice.
I think that's pretty fair because
I think so.
yeah, because in Minnesota just recently allowed 18-year-old to carry a gun, but back then, like a couple year, just like last year, you can't even carry a gun even if you were serving the military.
mhm.
I think that's pretty stupid. But I think regardless if you have a military or law enforcement background or not, anyone should be able to carry at the age of 18. Yeah, but that's just my opinion. All right, but speaking of concealed carry, what was it like when you got your concealed carry for the first time, and how did that shape your mindset about responsibility and training?
Yeah, man. Okay, so funny story. So I got my concealed carry license, but I had no way to get a gun. Because sure, like I was 18 years old, I had my license, but in the state of Florida, in order to purchase a handgun, you still had to be 21.
What? Oh my God.
So I was kind of just sitting here like, so now what? They're like this thing does nothing for me. But then I found out that I
Hey,
can actually
Dad,
get
you got any extras?
Hmm.
basically, no, no. So I found out that you can get a gun through private party.
Mhm.
So as typical, arms list, looking up for Florida, looking at my area in Florida. I actually found a gun, 43X. Some dude was selling it. We did the whole thing. And that was my first carry gun, first gun at all. And at the time, I was like kind of going back and forth between M&P and Glock. Um, and I just found a deal on 43X and got it. But actually, I went to a gun store and I was trying to buy ammo. They didn't let me buy ammo because I wasn't 21, so I had no ammo. But they did sell me a holster, and it was a Uncle Mike's like typical nylon holster. And I already knew from research that like this wasn't a good idea. But the dude was like, "Yeah, man, look, I'll put it in my waistband right now and show you." And I was like, "Okay, I'm sold." Um, and as dumb as this sounds, I actually went to Walmart that same day and I carried that gun unloaded into the Walmart just to just to see what it was like, and it was the dumbest thing ever. Like I walked out of that store and I was like, what the hell did I just do? Like, why did I do that? And like I wasn't thinking at all. So I guess that was my
I-
first learning moment, I guess.
I've done worse. I got my concealed carry permit, and then like week two, I was like, I'm gonna try carrying a Serpa. So I had a Serpa. I'm like, I'm gonna be all cool and like cover my shirt over my Serpa. I'm like, literally everybody at the store staring at me. I'm like, oh yeah, I have a huge lump on the side. Everybody knows what that is.
Okay, now I don't feel as bad, but
Yeah, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad.
no. So like that was like the first thing, and then I was like, okay, well, like this holster is trash. Like I'm printing like
Hmm.
really really bad. I was really
Yep.
self conscious. Um, then I looked at my belts and I was like, well, I'm only carrying with a leather belt. Like, I don't think the belt's gonna work. It's sagging a lot. So then that kind of started like my my road down gear. So then that's when I started joining Facebook groups and I was like looking at like whatever all these people were saying about gear and stuff. So then I bought, a better holster. I bought a newer belt, whatever, and that was kind of the gateway into it. Then I got hooked up on the T-Rex arms. I think everyone does, and that really really pushed I guess the training side of it, the mental the men, the mental side of it of like you're carrying this gun, be proficient, don't be like a typical gun owner who goes to the range once a year, who goes to like their farmland and just starts shooting trash and stuff. Like actually be proficient with this. um and at the time too, since I was only 18, 19 years old, I was pretty heavily into social media, and I thought it was the coolest thing that like, hey, I'm 18 and I'm carrying a gun and you guys aren't, like to my friends at least. And so I was sharing a lot of social media about that. And the image that I wanted to portray on social media was that like I was a responsible gun owner. Like I have a gun, but I'm not just out here just like, what people paint every gun owner of just being a killer. So I was like, I want to show that I'm responsible, disciplined, and I train and I'm safe with these things. And this is only going to be, for when I need it. So yeah.
So speaking of
Nice.
Facebook groups and stuff, were you mainly self-taught, or did you have like guidance to help you throughout your shooting journey?
I think when I started, it was a lot of self-taught. It was a
Hmm.
lot of just me copying somebody who was really fast. So like, Lucas Botkin.
Hmm.
Um, and I would just like look at them and be like, okay, so like they just move their hands faster or whatever, and I would just try to copy them. So I'd be like dry firing all the time. Um, but then, my time in the Facebook groups, I did find a lot of people actually that we still talk to this day. We have a big group chat who we just talk and we bounce ideas off each other, and we've taken a few classes together and started a few matches together, whatever it is, and that's kind of been, I guess, my group. So, they kind of helped me out a lot as well, like, hey, dude, like try this carry method, or um, yeah, as you're drawing your gun, try this, just small things like that. So that kind of, I guess, maybe refined to where I'm at now today. But yeah. Most of it self-taught.
Who were some of your favorite instructor that you took a class under from?
One of my favorites, smaller company. I think he's based out of Mississippi. His name is Tyler Tharp. He runs a training company called Synergy Training Group. You might see him in the group sometimes. But
Dude
yeah,
has
he
like the
was,
lowest voice ever.
yes, very,
He sounds
very,
like a country singer every time he talks.
yes, yes, that's him. Yeah, I'm glad you know him. But yeah, no,
Mhm.
he was one of the guys that I met in one of the Facebook groups, and then I found out he lived really close to me, and he was like, "Hey, dude, like you're doing a lot of social media stuff. Would you like to come out and help me out for a class? You can just provide social media, like you can provide marketing for me, just record clips here and there, and you can hop in the class whenever you see fit." And I was like, hell yeah, man. Like my first official formal performance type class. I get to help you out. You help me out. Perfect. And that was honestly like the gateway to like understand, like, holy crap, there's a lot more than what I just know or that I think I know. So yeah, shout out to Tyler. And then I think the next class I took that like I really made a lot of gains was with Riley Bowman during his Pistol IQ challenge or Pistol IQ course. So
So, what would be your recommendation? So, if a brand new shooter got into gun, right? And he or she wants to get better at shooting, and they've just been self-taught the whole time. How long do you think they have to wait until, well, how good do you think they have to be until they take a class from a respectable instructor?
I honestly, dude, I don't think you have to be. I don't think there's no limit to it.
Hmm.
I don't think you need to be like, oh, like I am B class, so therefore I can take a class, or like, oh, I'm gonna wait
Mm,
till A class to take class. I don't like. I think if you have the funds and the time and the drive and energy to do it, go do it. Like in my
okay.
opinion, I think time is essence essentially. Like as soon as you can get into like a structured formal type class like that, where like they're going to be giving you nuggets that you might not even have known about, or maybe you have been doing something this whole time that you taught yourself, but it wasn't until that instructor said, "Hey, try this," and you're like, "I've been doing this whole time, but I never heard it to words." Like that right there is like worth it to me. That's worth the $400 of the class right there. So I think if you have the time, money, do it.
All right, so we ask almost every instructor this, and I think I asked you this question on the few other podcasts before. But let's just say that if a new shooter want to get better at shooting, how do they know that that instructor is legit beforehand?
Yeah, this is a tough one. I've actually went back and forth on this a lot, and I think we talked about this before in the past too. But so if we look at it based off of what we have, like information wise, we have previous students, right? We can ask previous students, hey, how was the class? How do you think it helped you out? And for one, that's super subjective because some students may be like, oh yeah, like, well, I'm a D class shooter. This guy's an A class shooter, and he helped me out a little bit. Or maybe that shooter was an M class shooter, and he was like, yeah, I didn't really learn much from it. So we have that, but we also have, I guess, practice score, right? So if this instructor is actively taking or shooting competitions, we can see how they place. But like in my opinion, even that is pretty, kind of hit or miss because sometimes instructors do better at instructing, and then
Mhm.
sometimes, instructors don't perform as well as they instruct. It's kind of like the same thing of like not all, professional coaches for teams were the best players, but they do have the most knowledge of the game.
Mm.
So it's actually pretty tough to me, but in my opinion, I think that if you are able to gain a single thing from this instructor, maybe it's just one thing out of, a 50 block course, I think that'd be worth it for you. So I know that doesn't really answer your question, but it's
No, it does because now I really think about it. Okay, so I'm a B class shooter. I don't think I perform as good as I want, but I feel like I'm actually okay at teaching like a brand new shooter.
Mhm.
And my proof is just like my son. My son is like my main student, right? Or my main and my first student. I feel like I'm teaching him pretty well because I've been posting up I don't know if you watch his videos, but I feel like he shoots way better than me when I was 21. Or even he shoots better than me when I actually first started doing USPSA. So I'm actually kind of proud of the way I'm teaching him because I think in the next, I'm gonna say 5 years, I think he will like be 100 times better than me. Once
Oh,
he
oh.
hit like once he was like 13, when he actually had that teenager strength and the hand size, I think he will be way better than me. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
man.
was gonna
And
say once your boy gets a little bit bigger, his hands get bigger,
Yeah.
he's absolutely gonna tear it up.
yeah, I agree. I
Yeah,
think
cause yeah,
in
cause yeah, this morning we actually went to a range and I did not tell him to shoot faster, right? Because my goal was to have his splits be around 40 to 60, no, zero point 0.4 to zero point 0.6, right? But
mhm.
then somehow today his splits were like at zero point 0.2 to zero point 0.3.
Dang.
And he was actually hitting A zone. Obviously he's gonna hit some deltas, but it was mainly A and Charlie's and Alpha and Charlie's. And I was just really surprised because I didn't tell him to go that fast, and I didn't want him to go that fast because I feel like he might not be able to do it, but somehow he did it today, and I didn't stop him because he was actually ripping the gun, with his double tap and everything. So I was like, damn, I did a pretty
There you
good
go,
job.
Dad. There you go. Yeah, but no, I mean that just proves what I was trying to say though. It's like it's super hard to say who's a good instructor and who's not because like if it's not to throw any shade at Yuku, but you like you said you're a B class shooter, right? Let's say you take a GM shooter and you're offering classes, they're gonna look at you and be like, okay, who is this guy? Kue Lee, B class carry optic shooter. Like let's look at his major performance. Oh yeah, like whatever. He's 50%. I'm like, I don't know, right? But I'm saying like, but then look at you, you're teaching your son how to rip 20 splits and you didn't even want him to do that. That wasn't even
Yeah,
the goal, and now he's doing it comfortably.
yeah,
And like maybe somebody out there is like, hey, maybe I just want to get to 20 splits. And you can do that,
yeah,
So it's like it's kind of hard to say on who to go to. Um, because yeah, you're living proof of it.
yeah. But that's only one evidence though. So, but yeah, uh, let's talk about dry firing. How early did you start dry firing in your shooting stage?
Almost like day one.
Day one? Okay, so in your opinion, how important was dry fire in your early progress? What did your routine look like?
So my dry fire in the beginning was literally just me playing with guns. Like as simple as put, like I was like, hey, this gun is super cool. I want to play with it. And I learned a lot of my manipulations with it, learn how to be safe with it, learn how to like, press check comfortably, how to unload comfortably, how to disassemble a gun comfortably, how to draw, reload comfortably. I was not paying attention to the deeper things of dry fire. But I think that's good. I think it was good that I did that because like I had a very competent start to gun handling. Um, yeah, and it wasn't until I guess those classes that I took and shooting more matches was when I actually started to pay more attention and actually start to like gain more out of my dry fire because like I said, it was really just all manipulations.
All right, so I got a question for both of you. Um, so I would have conversation with just regular gun owners, right? And I would tell them that you won't know what to work on, whether it's dry firing or training or just shooting at the range. You won't know what to work on until you start doing competition as a civilian. As a civilian, you won't know what to work on until you do competition. What do you guys think
I don't
about
think that's
that?
limited to civilians.
Well, the thing is that I say civilians because I can only speak for civilians. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to
Oh,
speak for
yeah.
like law enforcement or military guys. But
Mm,
specifically, when I talk to my civilian buddies,
mm.
I always tell them that going to the range, if you never done competition, going to a range is a waste of time because you're just shooting for fun. But once you go to competition, that's when you will have an idea of what to work on at the range and dry fire. What do you guys think about that?
Um, so you know what, Ku actually just thought about this, and I was thinking of guys like Milspec Mojo.
Hmm.
He's never, shot a competition. But if you look at his YouTube videos and you look at his Instagram, a lot of his drills and a lot of how he trains is very competition-esque.
Yes.
And then I've seen also, even with some departments locally, like a lot of their targets, they use USPSA type targets and they score A zone, B zone, C zones. And it got me thinking, like, in the tactical world, we're taking a lot of competition as stuff in back into the tactical world. But yet these guys aren't shooting competitions. I think I think if you tailor your training around practical shooting, so speed and accuracy, I don't think you need to shoot competitions. I don't. But I do think you need to tailor your training towards that. If that makes the most sense.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that. You don't have to do competition shooting, but you made an excellent point that the guys who don't do competition shooting, but they're still really good, they're essentially training competition shooting, and they're picking up on those lessons. And one of the examples I'd like to give to people, a lot of people who aren't shooters, is that a lot of people like to play video games, right? And let's say that you are really good at Roblox, and there's all the different games in Roblox, all the different shooting games in Roblox, and you are the top, the best at it. And then you think, okay, I'm so good at Roblox. Now I am going to start playing Call of Duty, and then you absolutely get your butt kicked. And then that's because the meta is different. And that's one of the things that I talk about a lot is that, there's a different meta for things. Um, one of the things that I really trained a lot early on as I was getting into shooting is, more like bullseye shooting, doing a lot of NRA B8 target type of stuff. And I was pretty good at that. I was pretty good at that. But then when you change the meta, it's all different. The way that you handle the gun is different. The things that you could get away with before are completely different, and the skill gap is way, way, way higher. And so if you want to actually find out, what is the current meta for what you're trying to do, we got to look at, who are the top guys and what are they doing? And, what kind of things can I copy from them? And so, yeah, yeah. I don't think you absolutely need to do competition, but if you want to be the best, then you've got to look at, what are the top people actually doing and what kind of lessons can I learn from them?
Mm, bars.
Absolutely.
Bars. Okay. That's that's pretty good.
Yeah, what made me think about that was actually I think the recent podcast you guys did with that former St. Paul PD officer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. And I think there was a point in there where he was talking about putting a shell casing on the slide and pressing the trigger without moving the
Hmm.
shell casing, whatever. And then I think Christian brought up like, oh well, in practical accuracy or whatever, like it doesn't need to be that steady, essentially. And then I was like, yeah, you know what? Like if we look at it nowadays, like if we were teaching new officers in the academy of acceptable sight picture, right? That's kind of a thing that's taken from competition world. If we bring that back to the tactical sense, like, yeah, absolutely. You don't, but you don't have to do a competition to learn that.
All
So
right.
yeah.
So what if okay, so maybe okay, so now that you guys said I am wrong then. So what about you guys should study? I guess I should start saying you guys should start studying what the top shooter do. What did they do to get at that level? I think that would make more sense.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's better.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at the people who are literally at the top of the game. And, like we always talk about, like Stager and Prenka, they put their stuff up for free. And you cannot beat that. Lessons from some of the top guys in this space, putting out lessons for free, hours and hours and hours of free classes. Like you absolutely cannot beat that. I think it was Lucas Spotkin who was saying that, he stopped putting out videos on like how to teach how to shoot because, if like Stager's putting out stuff like that, there's really no need for it. But I think that also gets back into the thing that I complain about, which is just that marketing perspective. How do you make the shooting look sexy? Because Steger doesn't. It's literally just somebody recording him on a phone, and then he's just kind of like talking through it. Whereas Lucas, he's got a full production team. He's got a camera guy. He's got editing. They're doing color grading. They've got really nice microphones. Like if you listen to an old T-Rex Arms video and you compare it to anything else, like they've got very nice microphones. And you record that on a cell phone, it don't sound that good. So yeah, I think it's marketing. I would absolutely love if Lucas started getting back into doing some videos on, here's how I run a pistol. Here's some lessons that you can learn from it. Because I think that in terms of production value, he knows what he's doing. Um, but the guys who do high value productions, they don't really dip their toes that much into like teaching pistol shooting or rifle shooting.
Agree. All right. Let's get into some USPSA stuff. So Tanner, when did you first started doing USPSA? And how
Uh,
was your first match?
okay. So my first match was actually a rifle match. I believe it was 2020, 2021 maybe. Basically I got home from deployment. And when I was deployed, I was like just buying a crap ton of gear as anyone else would. Because I met some guys in Florida who were mix of military and civilians, and they were all shooters, whatever. And I was like, cool, like I found a little group that I can hang out with and train with, whatever. And so I got back home, and there was actually a match called the Partner Force Charity Match, and it was a charity match that donated all the funds to like the Green Beret Foundation or the Diving Combat Diving Foundation, whatever. So it was a good match, and it was like all of us just kind of running rifles. I was super nervous with this actually because it was my first competition, um, and whatever. And I do remember somebody saying like, dude, why are you so nervous, man? Like, whatever. And I was like, I don't know. I just want to do good. I don't want to get disqualified, or I don't want to mess up too bad, embarrass myself. And then somebody said, oh, well, dude, like, if you shot your gun before at a target, this is no different.
Mm.
And I was like, you know what? Like, yeah, you're not wrong. Like, I've done this before, I guess. It's just not in the setting. So I ended up placing 13th out of like 80 shooters.
Mm.
And out of my
Nice.
friend group, I won. And that's honestly what kind of initiated the competition for me, because we'd always do like small competitions amongst ourselves, but it wasn't ever like just against randoms that sign up for a match. So once I found out, I was like, hey man, like I actually had really a lot of fun there, and I did pretty good. Like let's keep doing this, and that really brought out like the competitiveness in me, because I'm pretty competitive as it is, because I just think that competition brings out the best in us. Um, so yeah, ever since that date in 2020, 2021, I was doing competitions.
So how did being competitive by nature help or challenge you in those early matches or current time?
I think so. If you compare like myself to just somebody who just goes as a hobby or for fun, obviously there's like a different approach mentally, right? Like I'm going there and I'm studying how people shoot, I'm studying how they stage plan. I'm looking at, okay, so how are they engaging these open targets? Where are they taking this popper from? Versus somebody who's just there for fun is like, hey man, I'm just gonna walk and shoot targets as I see it, and I'm just gonna have a good time. Um, but like me, like I said, I'm literally studying people. I'm trying to match with the or trying to stay squad with the some of the best names that I know at the matches. Asking questions, like I said, studying them, and yeah, I don't know. It's just because I want to be better, so that therefore I'm gonna look at the competition and either learn something from them or maybe take advantage of something that they didn't do. So
But you haven't been doing that lately, man. You've been squatting with us lately.
I've just been having fun with you guys, man. Yeah, I'm a dad now, dude.
Yeah, Tanner been squatting with the Hmong brothers for the past few matches and tomorrow.
Asians got support, man.
Sounds like you guys need to stop being B class, so that way Tanner has some good competition.
Hey, but
I say this like I'm not even B class.
well, speaking of Asian, Tanner, what so we know that I know that you're half Chinese. And I remember you told me that you're mixed. What other ethnicity are you?
Laotian and Cambodian.
Oh, Cambodian. Okay, okay. I thought it was Vietnamese. Okay, yeah. All
Okay,
right.
next question. What's your favorite noodle dish?
I'm gonna go with pho.
Oh, yes, that is the correct answer. That is the correct
Like
answer.
when my family makes it, dude, they can, like I'll eat that for the whole week, bro.
Mmm.
You can just give me the broth and a thermos, and I'll eat that for
Mmm.
lunch. Like that's all I need.
That that's the correct answer.
As a Laotian person, I'm sure you ate kabong before, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. You guys call it kabong too, right?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I mean kabong is a Laotian word. Yeah.
It's it's close to my favorite.
I think
Yeah.
that's
It's good. If it's
I
there, I'll eat it.
I think it's better
Yeah.
than pho.
Wow. Dude, you can do
My
so much with
wife,
pho though.
I know you can, but
I,
my wife agrees. She likes Capone better.
I don't know.
Fair enough.
It's just hearty.
Those
Okay.
pho?
No, kabong. Oh, so
Yeah.
Koo likes that coconut milk, that curry.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's fair.
you guys put coconut milk in yours, right?
Hmm.
Okay. All right. All right. So, um, when did you start becoming more process driven instead of outcome driven, and how did that affect your scores?
Okay, so I would say that whole process for me started after taking a class with Riley Bowman. I think we took that class in 2022. I don't know. So we took it sometime. And prior to that, I was very like you said, outcome driven. Like if I showed up to the range and I was like, I want a sub two bill drill, I would literally shoot hundreds of reps just trying to get sub two. And I wasn't paying attention to like actually what I was doing. I would just go in there. Okay, I shot a 202. That means I have to go faster. Don't know where I need to go faster. Don't know how I'm gonna go faster, but I'm just gonna shoot faster. And it never worked out. And I was like super frustrated. I get super burnt out and I just get mad. And I feel like I'm not getting anywhere with this. But it wasn't until that class with Riley, because Riley was huge on the mental part, which is probably why his class is called Tissel IQ. Um, but it wasn't until after that class, maybe like a week later or whatever, like I was just nailing this stuff down. Sub two bill drills easy, draw the first shot, sub second easy. And I was like, whoa, what the hell happened? Like this just happened overnight. And like I said, it was all just worrying about the little things instead of the bigger picture outcome. Once you start focusing on little things, then the bigger things would just randomly show up. And that's
Mm.
exactly what happened. And it's honestly how I made M class as well. I just stopped kind of caring about being M class and I just shot the match, shot for shot, shot each stage for its stage. And next thing you know, I looked at the rankings and I'm an M class shooter. So I was like, oh crap. Yeah.
How long did it take you to become a M class?
Let's see. So I started shooting 2021, 2020. That's when I guess when I first got ranked. I was a B class initially. Then I just shot matches every single weekend, whatever, until I got to A class. And then I was about A class for about 3 to 4 months before I got M class. So probably 2 years
Okay.
in total to get M
Nice.
class.
Beside
Nice.
yep, go ahead, Christian.
Oh, I was actually gonna tag along with what you were saying about, that kind of that mental game. That's actually something I've been really focusing on too. So one of the things I've been doing right now is so I got a shotgun class or a shotgun instructor class coming up, and so I don't really shoot shotguns except for maybe like once a year. And if you watch like Ben Sager shoot, he's got like the most relaxed stance ever, and it doesn't register with me like how he can be that relaxed and how he can shoot that well. And that's one of the things he talks about is he does tension is the enemy. And so as I'm trying to do my shotgun stuff, I realized that okay, I've set like a one reload one part time of like 1.5 seconds, and so I'm doing like 1.6 1.7s, and I'm frustrated, I'm missing all my reloads. And then just like Tanner says, like you just kind of chill, you just don't care anymore. And all of a sudden I'm chill, and then bam, I'm nailing instead of like 1.5, I'm already down into like 1.2, and I'm like, oh, okay, you start to realize that, yeah, that tension is not helping me, which is funny because, tension seems to be kind of like a natural fight response. And it's weird how there are some cases where it helps and some cases where it hurts. And especially with shooting, it seems that tension seems to hurt more than it helps.
Mhm. That's awesome. Yeah, because like I had the same epiphanies.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So Tanner, are you more of a tactical guy or more of a competition guy?
I think I'm more of a practical guy.
Okay.
Oh, I
I
like that
I
answer.
so I went back and forth between being a competition shooter and being a tactical shooter. Like I think as everybody else, right? We all start off as that super tactical guy. Like I actually have money, I can buy plate carriers,
Mhm.
I can buy a battle belt and look like an operator. And that's what I did. Um, but then I went to competitions and I was like, well, like this guy just has two pistol mags and a holster.
Hmm.
Like, why do I need a dump pouch? Why do I need a med kit? Why do I need a level three holster? Um, so then I kind of got into the whole competition stuff, but I was like, well, like I guess this is cool. But then again, I was like thinking, well, I'm a practical shooter. Like the only time I really carry a gun is when I'm concealed carrying it. So that's like I carry it for work. So then I started shooting from shooting competitions from concealment. But then I had like a tough debate between myself of like, okay, well, like I'm going to this sport to play a game. Let's play the game. You know what I mean? So then that's kind of when I solidified on being a competition shooter and just running out the whole rig. But nowadays, even with my even though I work in a job capacity, which makes me carry a gun and all this kit, still don't even wear that in competitions because what I've learned was I can take things from competition and apply it to whatever, I guess, context that I need. So
Mm,
if you're not, it's like for those who aren't following this, like for example, if I need to throw a bill drill down on the job, um, does it matter that I'm drawing for a level three's Farland holster? Not really. Does my reload matter that it's coming out of a mag carrier that's a little bit more tighter than my competition ones? Not really. Because the shooting is still a shooting. So I can just take my shooting skills and apply it to whatever context that I need. So that's why I look at it as
Yeah.
like I'm a practical guy, not tactical or competition guy.
No, I think you absolutely nailed it. I see a lot of tactical guys, and they train in their full kit. They've got like Cry JPCs. They're running level 4 plates. They got the nice Team Wendy helmets and everything. But then you actually see them shoot, and they're like, "Oh, you're pretty slow." And yeah. There's definitely a lot of money, especially in the shooting space of looking like a Call of Duty operator, but not so much in actually knowing how to shoot well. And I think you put it very succinctly that come out of the way that we always say train like you fight, but very few people actually like really understand that. Okay, I am not going to Walmart dressed in full kit. I am going to Walmart in shorts, flip flops, and a t-shirt. Okay, so my training should reflect how actually going to be dressed. If somebody threatens my life or the life of my family.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I think you have an excellent point when you say it like that.
Yeah, and I didn't learn this like this. I didn't wake up one day and just suddenly have this mindset. Like
Hmm.
I think just like everyone else, we kind of go through the different phases and we start off, in one direction and then we get kind of persuaded the other way and then end up somewhere where we end up. And that's kind of my story is that, yeah, I started off super tactical, super, I needed to have the best
Hmm.
EDC gun with the comp, the light, the dot, everything. And then now it's just a simple Glock 19 with a dot on it,
mm.
so yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you 100% because I know a lot of especially like tactical guys or self-defense guy, like they always talk about, oh, you gotta uh keep your gun stock, which I mean, yeah, you should, but that's not the only reason. Self-defense or like tactical shouldn't be the only reason why you should keep your gun stock, because they say that if you like upgrade your gun too much, then that now you're just gaming, which is not true. You know what I mean? Because I feel like at the end of the day, shooting just shooting. So as long as you could run the gun, then that's all that really matters.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And I don't mind gaming at all. Like I
Yeah.
don't like, if you I mean, for example, there's been a lot of times where, for example, I think I've said this in a previous podcast with you guys, taking your seatbelt off a little bit before you arriving somewhere, that's essentially gaming. You game every day in your life. So I don't mind gaming at all.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you guys say to people who say that, oh, using a red dot on a pistol is cheating, makes it too easy? What do you guys say to that?
Dude, I actually just kind of got into it with my family member about this. He mentioned red dots to me, and I was like, yeah, I shoot
Uh-huh.
with red dots. That's where I compete, whatever. And he was like, I don't know why you need that because night sights do the same exact thing. And the thing about me too is that like I don't think I'm very confrontational when it comes to this stuff
Hmm.
because people get really hung up on their ideas, and to me,
They
it's not even
do.
worth the time.
They do.
Um, but I just kind of explained it like, hey man, if you can rock it with night sights and you can do your thing, more power to you. Like I wasn't gonna sit there and try to have a debate with him, but yeah, no, I think if you're in that mindset, I think the best thing that I can say is be a little bit more open-minded to it. Um, yeah, and that's really it.
Who, what do you say?
I
Red dots are
mean,
cheating.
don't you want to cheat to live? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I don't know if you guys ever play Black Ops 1, a Call of Duty. Have you guys played that game before?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Okay, so the gun FAMAS is that how you pronounce it? FAMAS?
Hmm.
Yeah, I think
Okay,
so.
so
The famous.
oh, famous or okay, I'm
I
gonna
don't
call it
know.
the FAMAS. All right. So that FAMAS gun, it does not recoil at all. And then people will be like, "Man, you suck. That's why you use it FAMAS. It doesn't recoil." I'm like, "Bro, that's the reason why we're using it because it's such a good gun, man." But then they want you to like use the AK because they recoil so much, and supposedly the harder the gun, then it will prove like how good you're at shooting. But I mean, well, I'm still winning though. You know what I mean? So that's my response.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. And as somebody who's been accused of gaming things, that's the whole point. That's literally the whole point. That, if I wanted to get into a fair fight, you got your fists. You just go at it with your fist, right? I'm not
Yeah,
here to win a fair fight. I'm here to win. Okay. Because if it is a situation where I have no other option to protect my life or the life of my loved ones than to draw a firearm, I am going to use every single dirty trick that I can, because everything is a game. Everything is a game. The prizes are just different. And the prizes may be first, second place. Prizes may be $100. Prize may be that you get to go home tonight. And so, with every game, you have to weigh out the pros and cons, and you have to see, what can I get away with, and what can I do to gain the advantage and press that advantage. So, yeah, red dots are
absolutely.
absolutely cheating, and that's the point. That's the whole point of having the gun, period, because you got fists. If you want to go in a fair fight, have at it.
And I think another thing too is like a lot of people think that people slap on optics on guns and it just magically makes them better. Like it's like, oh, this that thing aims for you. No, like you still need the fundamentals. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like yeah, there's more to it than just throwing it on the gun. So I think a lot of people don't think about that. So
I
yeah.
wish it did.
Oh yeah, 100%. I wish it did as well.
All right, let's have a quick debate. So even though I'm a red dot shooter, I still think that it's easier to shoot irons up close. If
For a
your
first
target
timer,
first timer pro, even if you don't really shoot irons, I feel like it's easier to shoot irons up close if your target focus
in general, for all people, or
for
like
all
for
people,
newbies.
all people.
Hmm. How close are we talking? Are we talking about 5 yards?
I would say 5 to 7 yards.
Under 5, I don't even know if I need to aim.
Okay, 7 yards then.
Nah, 7 yards. I'm going with the dot. What do you think,
What?
Tanner?
Um, I would agree, Koo. I would agree.
Okay. All right, Christian, why do you disagree?
Because doing bill drills is really hard with irons. Sub two bill drills is really hard with irons, but with a dot, it's much more manageable. Because as the saying is, the dots they kind of whisper to you what they're doing, whereas the dot it screams, what is going on. And so usually when I teach dot versus irons to new people, I'll um I'll have them do fingers, right? Right. So I'll have them say, okay, take out your finger, this is your front side. Take out your other hand, these are your rear side, okay? And then look at that target down there. You gotta line up target, front sight, rear sight, okay? You gotta get all three of them perfectly lined up, all right? And then I'll say that's essentially what we're doing with our pistol, okay? Now for our dot shooters, instead of having to get them all perfectly lined up, dot shooters just make a big hole. As long as you can see that front, you're good, right? As long as you can see that front, you're good. Okay. Um, and so it essentially comes down to with the tech, with traditional sights, it's that you've got to get perfect alignment. Okay. If you don't have perfect alignment, then essentially, you're going to be high, you're going to be to the right or to the left, just a little bit. Okay. How much to the right, how much to the left, how much high, how much low? It's hard to tell unless you specifically practice, those holds with those different windage and elevation of that front sight. It's hard to tell. But with the dot, as long as you see the dot, it's if you can imagine like the rear sight, if it was just massive. Okay. If you just have like a massive rear sight, as long as you see the front, you're good. That's essentially how I treat the red dot, is that I don't need perfect alignment like I do with if I were to use my regular sights. And so I would say like five and under, I don't really need to aim as much because I can more point shoot at five and under. Once we start getting to seven, if I'm trying to get really good hits, then the better sighting system is going to help me more. Well, where do you guys think that line is? Because if you say that seven, that dot that the iron sights may have more advantage, where does that line stop?
I think, just from my experience, I think
Hmm.
distance, it doesn't stop. But
Hmm.
where I think it stops is the level of accuracy required.
Hmm.
So, just in my time talking to instructors and shooting, going back and forth between dots and optics, Tim Herron is very, very big on
Hmm.
this,
Yep.
since he's an iron sight shooter.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to him in a group chat one time, and he was like, "Dude, why are you overthinking this, bro? Like, they're at the end of the day, they're both sighting systems. People
Yeah.
have been slaying with iron sights way before you were born." And I was like, damn, dude, like it makes sense. So he was like, stop overthinking it and just understand that yes, dots are nice because he shoots with the dot as well, but irons still get the job done. And he was like, if I had to put a difference on them, he says the only thing that's maybe a little bit different is just the level of accuracy. You're obviously going to be more precise with the dot than with irons. Um, and I think it's kind of subjective as well because obviously he has a lot of time behind iron, so he has a lot of time to kind of understand the limitations of the left to rights and highs to lefts with his setup and whatnot. But I think if anybody puts time and effort into a sighting system, I think they can just be good. Like, you know. But I think it's just like a physics thing, right? Because obviously you have big blocky irons versus a small refined dot that one of them is going to be just a little bit more accurate than the other.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too, and I could be wrong because I don't shoot irons as much, but I just feel like irons is much easier close up because when you target focus, right, and then you bring the sights up, I feel like the iron sights is like fully covered where you're looking at, and you just pull the trigger. And I feel like since you don't actually see the iron sights going up and down, it's just like right there. I don't know if that makes
Hmm.
sense, but with the
Hmm.
dot, you could see it up and down,
Yeah, you
and
get sucked into the dot.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Um,
So it's
I
easier to get sucked into a dot than get sucked into the irons.
no,
Yeah,
no, I can
I
I
could
can see that.
I could be wrong though.
No,
No,
I
I
mean
can see
I
that.
don't think you're wrong. I think it's just I think it's how your eyes work, man. I don't know.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because yeah, like because I mean I agree to that because I've experienced that myself. But and I think it's just
Hmm.
with the dot, I'm like I want to see the dot and I want to know it's on the target, even though I
Hmm.
know I don't have to see it, right? Because there's different ways to aim with the dot without seeing the dot. But then when you just take the irons, it just makes it dumb, you know? It's
Yeah.
just like line up big blocky things on this thing, pull trigger.
Hmm.
So that might be it, man. That might be as simple as just a mental monkey brain
Yeah.
type thing.
Yeah, that's why earlier I say close up though, because I for me I struggle like once it gets to like 20 yards. Because I tried it, your target focus at 20 yard with iron sights, bro, I suck. I can't do it. I mean,
Me
yes,
too.
I could still hit the paper, but it's not, it's not alphas. It's like it would be like Charlies or deltas. But then like close up from like 15 yards is actually not that bad. So
Hmm.
that's why like for me, I kind of prefer just a red dot just because in competition, sometimes your target is gonna be all the way to 20 to 30 yards and you want to be fast with it. With the irons, I think for me, my skills, I'm too slow with the irons from at that distance. Yeah.
100%.
Cool, you can have both
Yeah.
in your gun. You know that, right?
What's that?
You can have both on your gun. You know that, right?
That is true. No, no, I don't. I don't because
Well, you could.
I
You
could,
could.
but I take off the irons. 'Cause- All right. Last question for me, Tanner. So right now you are M class, right? I know that you don't shoot classifier. I know that you're not officially classified right now, but you are an M class. Do you think that do you feel like you're shooting like a GM right now?
Um, Local GM, yes, I would say so.
I say local GM is still pretty good, man.
Yeah, but like so just in my time competing and kind of learning the sport, I've kind of found out that like the local stuff does not matter. And it's all about like the major matches,
Okay.
nationals or whatever it is, or area matches. Um, and that's kind of where I want to like see how I stack up. Um, but I don't think I'm at that point yet because even now, just at local matches, I'm very inconsistent. And I think that's probably why I never made it to GM, even though I really wanted GM just to say I had GM. But I would, go back and forth between having good matches and bad matches. So I think that's probably the one of the biggest things that's holding me back from progressing is just my consistency. And it's also
Mhm.
just why, I've been just shooting matches when I can, when I'm available, and just having fun with it, not taking it super seriously, just kind of getting out and making noise.
Yeah, that's how I definitely feel about uh, being an A class shooter because um there will be days where I will have like all good stages, right? And then there will be that one stage that would just throw my whole entire match away, and then it will rank like a B class. But like me personally, I do feel like I shoot like an A class, but I'm not consistent, and that's what is keeping me as a B class. Yeah, so I think it is consistency because we had this talk with Matt Prinka, and Matt Prinka is basically saying A class is pretty much GM. It's just that they're not as fast and consistent. But if you let them do it over and over and over, they're gonna run it like a GM. But it's just that, it's a cold start. You only get one try. And if you're not consistent, then you're gonna shoot like an A class. But if you could stay consistent and always on top of your game, you're pretty much a GM.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of
100%.
that?
I agree.
Okay.
100%, dude.
Cool. So the Ace VR game, right? So the Ace VR game, a lot of competition shooters are doing it. So I'm in the Facebook group for it, and I always see people posting about this. That like they say, "Oh, I have top rank, Ace rank, which is like GM-ish equivalent in all the stages, but how come my actual ranking is like 3 levels lower than that, right? So they can't understand why they may have achieved top rank in all stages, but the actual rank is actually like maybe 3 or 4 steps below that. And what they don't realize is that to actually classify is you get like one chance per day, and you run a same stage like 3 times, and then it's all about that consistency. And I think that's definitely where, that training, where being able to kind of lock in really comes in, is that yeah, you got to be consistent. And if you can't be consistent, then you're going to be thrown off by whatever your lowest score is. And I definitely see myself doing that. And so I I really wanted this year to really get hardcore into competition shooting, but I've just been doing so much. I absolutely don't have the time to really dedicate to like the dry fire or come out to the matches, because the matches around here, they're 9 hour days, and so it's hard for me to really find the time to do that, which really sucks because I want to do more matches. Um, but yeah, that consistency is key, because I'm very guilty of this too. A lot of my Instagram videos, I'll show you my best run. Here's one of one, my best run. So I'm stopping doing that, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to show you just my best run. Let me run it 5 times in a row. I'm going to run it 5 times in a row, and you guys can get a better feel for where I actually am at.
Okay.
So Tanner, how do you in your opinion, what advice would you give to people to learn how to stay consistent?
Hmm.
Even though right now
Okay.
you don't feel like you're consistent, but I'm pretty sure you will be if you compete more. So as a master class shooter, what advice would you give to people like us to learn how to be more consistent?
Okay. Um, so this I would say this goes back to even when I was like in high school, middle school, like doing karate. And I would do
Okay.
sparring a
I'm
lot.
just kidding.
So I was really into sparring. I like the physical contact of it. And some would say I was actually pretty cocky, which I don't disagree with. I probably was cocky. But I do remember listening to like a really known competition, type competitor, and somebody asked him like, how is his mindset going into every single match, competing against a different country or whatever it is? And he says, well, like I just remember the good times on the mat. I remember how I felt when I was having good days. And that translated to me because, back in my home gym, you have all your buddies, you have your same equipment, same music, whatever it is, and you just feel comfortable. You feel like a vibe.
Mm,
So every time I go compete, I would just try to get myself into that that mentality of just being relaxed, being in the same home that I'm already in, just somewhere different, I guess. And those are the matches where I would do good. And then when I don't do that, when I overthink it, or when I don't, just don't do that, then I do poorly. So when it translates to shooting, the days that I do really, really good, I would try to remember those days, and I would try to remember those feelings, and I would try to bring it to the next match. And if I brought it, then hey, I had a good match. If not, obviously I tanked it. Um, and another thing too, so during Tyler's class, it was during one of his assessments, and how he does it is he does like an initial assessment to see where the student's at, then we do the whole course, and then we do it at the end to see what we picked up on. And I remember I was one of the first ones up on the initial assessment, and I was just freaking out, dude. Like there was Jim Krantz was there. He's a GM shooter, kind of known for the in the down south, and he was there taking the class. And I was like, dude, like I gotta perform, man. Tyler was watching me, and all these other guys in this class watched me. They knew about my history, so they're hyping me up, and I was freaking out. And he put his hand on my shoulder and he said, "Titties," and I was like, "The fuck?" And he's like, titties, bro. And I'm like, what about titties, man? Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, no, for real, relax. Think about titties. Think about your wife's titties. And then I was like, okay. So I started doing that. And he's like, so now you're relaxed. Don't think about what you're going to do. Take your mind out of that. You already know what to do. You've done this before. You already know what to do. You already know the stage. Just relax. Think of something that makes you happy, put you in your happy place, and then run it. And I literally ran a GM level score, probably one of the best in the class. And
Nice.
yeah, dude. So I try to do that before every single stage now. Just try to put my mindset into something other than the competition. And then I just let everything kind of happen subconsciously because I already know my skill. Like, not to sound cocky, but like I think everyone kind of knows their skill. And yeah, just let the skill take over. Just let your body just do its thing. Just shoot. And I mean, recently my past few matches I shot with Ku and whatever here, like I've been placing pretty decent. And that's just because I just do. I don't try to think about it too much.
so during that class, I'm assuming your chopstick was sticking out then.
My egg roll.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like I definitely agree with that 100%. Like just try to relax. Um, and I think that's what I need to start doing when I do classifier because that's what Joe Park told me, Matt Pringa told me that, I'm just too nervous. I'm overthinking. I'm looking at the classifier stage like it's a whole different match when technically I should just be looking at it like it's just a stage. Just do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think another big thing too that I want to mention is it's Tyler mentioned to me, he calls it emotionless correction. And it's if you make a bad shot, if you forget a target, if you make an error, if you step wrong, or if you have a bad stage, be emotionless about it and correct it. Don't let it eat you alive because it's just going to go downhill from there. And because, I think we all had bad stages and we're still able to fight back from it and still place decent. I know I've had terrible stages where I'm literally thinking about that stage all day long. Like, oh my goodness, I just bombed that stage. My buddy, he did amazing. It's either me or him for the high overall win. But then I just forget about it, shoot the rest of the stage, and turns out I'm the winner. Like, hey, good job to me. But it's like just being emotionless, like if you call a mic or something during a stage, you miss a popper three different times. It's like, okay, adjust your sights, press the trigger, move on, keep going. Don't get hung up on it because then everything else kind of goes downhill from there.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I need to listen to my own advice too because that's how my son feel like when it's his turn to shoot, he was like, "Dad, I'm so nervous." And I would lie to him that, "Dude, nobody cares about you. Nobody is not no one is watching you because you're a kid. You're gonna be slow and everyone's gonna be busy talking to their own buddy." He's like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then he goes shoot and then he start running because he would in his mind he would say, okay, it's just because I told him this is gonna be me watching you, me and the RO. Everyone else is gonna be busy talking to their own buddies. But in reality, everybody's watching him because he's a kid. But I think that, kind of tricks his mind. So it made him being able to run with a live gun. And I wasn't even able to do that when it was my first few matches. I was actually walking because I was so nervous. There was too many people watching me, and I didn't want to mess up, so that made me that held back a lot of what I want to do on the stage. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all the question that I have. Christian, go ahead and ask the
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah, I got one or two questions for you, Tanner. This is more roundtable kind of questions for, I guess, kind of all of us. But what do you guys think? Would you say that the general population of gun owners over time have they become more skilled or less skilled? What do you guys think?
I think skilled as in hard skills.
Skilled as in just general firearm safety and proficiency.
I would say we're about the same.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I would say we're
So,
about the same. And the reason why, okay, so I say this because I've been talking to a lot of newer people who I've
mhm,
never met before, whether
mhm,
it's at work or just whatever. And, when I mentioned to them, like, hey, man, like, do you guys train often? Do you guys dry fire
mhm,
often? They know the concepts.
mhm,
Do they actually do it? I don't know, probably not. But the fact that a lot of these guys have been acknowledging at least dry fire or like, hey, yeah, I do watch these videos or I do this, it's like, cool, man. So it's almost like we're kind of seeing a shift in like the open-mindedness. Because before, right, I'd mention dry fire, they'd be like, what the hell is that? You're playing with your guns, dude, that's not safe. But now it's like, oh yeah, I know the concept of dry fire. Um, so yeah, I'd say hard skill we're about the same, but I think like mental preparedness or like mental IQ wise, I think we're kind of making gains here.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Tanner too because so my main crowd is mainly Hmong people. I mean, because that's what I am. And every time when I talk to like a Hmong buddy or a coworker, uh, they will always mention the same people like, Travis Haley, Instructor to Zero, Grantham and stuff like that. But they never mention, about like Ben Stager, Joe Park, Matt Prank on them. So I feel like I they're just watching videos, but they're not actually training because I feel like people who actually train can name like the top shooters, but people who don't train can only name like influencer. Now, I'm not saying that you can't learn anything from influencer, but if you talk to people who actually train, they don't ever mention about influencer.
Mhm.
And Lucas Bakken is the only influencer that that's worth mentioning, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that you guys definitely have a solid point. Yeah, that the general firearm proficiency, in my opinion, um, people who know what they're doing, they're getting louder online, and so they're more willing to call people out. Like, hey, that's unsafe. That technique you're talking about, you've got it backwards. And I think that's kind of filtering a little bit more into the general population, like a tiny bit, a tiny bit. Just for fun, I decided to join like Palmetto State Armory firearm owner groups, and those are very interesting. Nobody's ever talking about training. They're always talking about, I need a new trigger. I need a new red dot sight that doesn't cost more than $30, things like that. Um, but, if people are doing something stupid or unsafe, they're going to get called out on it really quick. And so that at a minimum, it's better than nothing in terms of like, learning how to shoot properly, proper grip, proper trigger finger isolation, things like that. I don't really see it, but I would say it's a step in the right direction.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, and just to go back on to the whole like mindset shift too. I mean, red dots a couple years ago, it was pretty debatable, right? A lot of guys
Hmm.
are, oh, you don't need all those
Hmm.
gizmos. But nowadays it's like
Hmm.
it's a normal thing, literally just a
Hmm.
normal thing. For the general, right? And I think it's because of the publicity that it's been getting. You see it
Hmm.
in video games every day. You see a lot of law enforcement agencies running them. So it's just now I think it's just become a normal thing. And yeah, it's definitely a weird shift, a good shift.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, definitely these past couple 4 or 5 years, that has been the trend. It's pretty much become accepted that if you're gonna have a handgun, if your life depends on it, you might as well just get it with a dot on it. Most departments that I've seen, anytime they're buying new guns, it's gonna have a dot on it. That's generally what
Mhm.
I'm seeing nowadays.
And I mean, yeah, look at every manufacturer now too, producing
Hmm.
pre-cut slides. So it's like
Hmm.
yeah. I think I saw another post too in a Facebook group, and it was somebody was talking about like, hey, have you guys noticed that all these young new kids shooting competitions um, are placing B or A class versus when we would shoot and we would get into competition, we were like D and C class. So I wanted to ask you guys, right, to if you guys ever come across any new shooters or whatever it is, do you guys feel like the new generation or this current generation of new shooters, do you feel like they're just better?
In
Yes.
my opinion, oh, you go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say yes because uh it's easier to get it's easier to get information now compared
Hmm.
to like I mean I shouldn't have an excuse because I mean I grew up in like when there's already easy access, but uh like Ben Steger didn't start coming out like pushing
Hmm.
out his free class until like what, just 3 years ago.
Mhm.
But back when I was like 21, all I see was Instructor Zero, Travis Haley, and them. And yeah, I mean, I was learning from them in some ways, but I now I think back, it wasn't their technique. It wasn't as good compared to like Joel Park and them. So these kids are learning from like Joe Park and them, and they just get better information. Just like my son, like because right now I'm giving all my son the good information that I learned from like watching Joe Park and them, and he just ripping the gun. And if I want to be honest, he shoot as fast as me right now. So, but yes, even though he's not hitting the target as good as me, but he's able to have like the same split because my usual splits are like point 0.2. If I want to be honest, point 0.2 to point 0.25. and his splits are like around there, and he has only been shooting for 1 month. So I think yes, I think the younger people are getting better because of free information, easier access to information that we didn't get.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say overall with just the rise of the internet and social media, I'm gonna pull out my old man card and say back when I started, we had Magpul DVDs
Yeah.
with Travis Haley and Chris Costa. We had Panteo Productions. What else did I have access to? There was a little bit of shooting, not a ton. You don't really there there were a lot of great shooters out there, but they really weren't putting out like a lot of easily accessible stuff that was well known. But nowadays, people are aware of the meta. They know where to get the information. If you go ask a competition shooting group, be like, where can I learn some shooting? And they'll say, okay, go watch this video series, go watch this, and then bam, you already know what the grandmasters know. Now it's up to you to try to start emulating that and incorporating it. And so yeah, yeah, with how big the internet's gotten, things that were secret, maybe not necessarily secret, but things that were very hard to find for someone to teach you. It's out there, and you just got to ask. You ask, and you're gonna find it.
Nice.
What about you? What do you think, Tanner?
Honestly, I haven't really noticed. Like, I don't think I've really paid attention to the newer generation of shooters because, like, I kind of classify myself as still that, but like even people younger than me, I guess. Um, but yeah, no. I mean, I think I would agree though. Social media has probably taken the
Mhm.
biggest, and like it's definitely shifted the whole mindset of training and how we approach training. I think social media is probably the biggest thing.
Tanner, you can't say stuff like that and say that like you first classified as B class. All right, that in and of itself answers your
Okay, all right,
question.
yeah, you're fair, you're fair, you're fair. Yeah, it's fair. Yeah, no, I would agree then, 100%. Yeah.
Your Air Force training doesn't count because Air Force barely had you do rifle quals.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of going off of that, what would you say are what are some of the major differences you've noticed between like now versus when both of you guys started shooting? Like how has the landscape changed in terms of like, the equipment that we use or the techniques that we use? How have things changed since you guys started shooting?
As far as in the Air Force or just in,
Just pretty much your entire shooting career. First time you picked up a gun.
mm, honestly, I mean, me being so still relatively young and kind of getting into the game pretty late, I haven't seen too much of a shift.
This is an old man question. Dang.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
more towards coup.
All right. Cool. Okay, old man, old
All
timer.
right. I learned. Okay, so for me, is knowing the difference between gun owner and shooters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm,
that's very important because
mm-hmm.
anyone can talk like for example, just because you drive a car, that doesn't mean you're a racer. So if you want to
Mm-hmm.
get better at racing, you got to go learn from a racer. Um, and
That's
there's
that's that's what you think. I'll take anybody with my 5-speed Honda Civic any day.
and then my second one would be shooting slow and making your target hole look like this does not mean that you're a good shooter. It just means that you're good at shooting slow. And the smooth pull triggers, the slow smooth trigger pull. I mean, that's pretty useless because, like I said many times, in a real gunfight or shooting under pressure, that's not how you're gonna shoot. You're gonna yank that trigger, and you have to learn how to yank that trigger without moving the gun. And the only way to be faster is to be faster. And then the my third one would be um focus more on shooting and ammo and training than just owning a bunch of guns. It's cool to have a
Hmm.
bunch of guns, but especially okay, so I'm speaking from a broke person, right?
Hmm.
Because I don't ha like if I can only afford for one thing, I will focus more on the shooting side than just owning a bunch of guns. Um, and then fourth would be as a civilian, go do competition because that's the only place where we, unless you have a land and everything, then that's great. But like someone like me who doesn't have a land, who's on a budget, competition's the way to go because that's the only place where you will get to run a gun, draw from the holster, shoot under pressure, compare yourself with other shooters. Um, and fifth one would be um, shoot fast. Because I always try to be better and faster because um, once you if you only practice shooting slow, then obviously you will always be slow. So th my views that's how my view changed since I got into like shooting for from the
Yeah.
beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely say I got serious about shooting in like 20 gosh, when I was in my 20s, early 20s. So that would be like the 20 2011, 2012. Um
Gee,
yeah, I know. Old man status.
12,
Yeah. And
man.
so yeah, so I mean even before that, back when I was maybe 2009, 2010, that's when like I said, that was Magpul DVD era. And back then, it wasn't that big. We had watched a lot of like Hickok 45, a lot of gun reviews and stuff like that. Nothing fancy, and nothing fancy. Will run and gun just out in the desert, and you're like, this is top tier shooting right there. And I would say that the things that have really changed now is that the meta has become more apparent. More people are aware of the meta. They're aware of the shooting meta. More aware that, yeah, if you really are going to talk about guns and quality shooting, there are people who know how to do it, and you should be learning from them. And you should be trying to judge yourself to the standards of the meta rather than, just kind of running and gunning in the desert, which is fun. Don't get me wrong, that's fun. But if you want to say I am legitimately a good shooter, we have ways of gauging that now. Okay. Whereas before, just kind of doing a highlight reel would be good enough. So yeah, I would say that um, because of social media, we have a better idea of what actually good shooters look like. But that's only if you're looking in the right places. If you are in the Palmetto State Armory owners group, nobody there is talking about what good shooters look like. Um, if you want to look at some really nasty guns, yeah, you can go there. But if you're in the correct groups, if you are in the correct spaces, yeah, you're going to learn what good shooters are, and you're going to learn how to shoot like them. Um, yeah, Tanner, you have anything else on that you want to bring up? Because
Hold on, I got a question for Tanner. You
yeah.
brought up a good point, Christian. So Tanner, I
Mhm.
noticed that almost everyone knows you. Almost. Right. So, so the question I have for you is, do you think connection also helped you become a better shooter?
100%.
Okay.
Not only just better shooter, but better person in general, better dad, better husband, whatever. Because I think there's so much more to connections and friendships than just shooting. That's that. So that same crew that I talked about earlier, who I met in some Facebook groups, they literally quite helped formed me. Because there was a time and point where I was just getting super, super deep into this stuff, where I was shooting matches every single weekend, literally forgetting my wife and my family just to go shoot a match. I'd like, dude, it was bad, brother. It was bad. We couldn't even eat dinner without me having a gun around, just me dry firing, trying to eat dinner. Like it was super bad. I was obsessed with this stuff. And those guys were kind of like, dude, man, like get your life together, bro. Like reprioritize your life and um, be a dad, be a husband, man, enjoy it. And that helped me as far as character development, but also learning different, like every single person I've come across and just learning their backgrounds and like learning where they are in life and just it's just helped character development wise. But as far as training goes and all that stuff, I mean, yeah, like we can bounce ideas off each other. This person might know this person who happens to own a holster company. So, hey, I now know this person. This person sent me out holsters to try out. Here we go. There's that. Or you know, or this person has a membership to this range, so we can go shoot this range now. Right?
Yeah.
So I think yeah, no, connections are huge, man. And I think being just kind of out there not only does good for showing the sport, right, of USPSA, which is already a pretty small sport when you look at it in the whole grand scheme of things, but also just showing off like good gun ownership and like, that there's just more to it than just someone carrying a gun. There's it's cool. And like from all the videos that I post on social media and all that stuff to my close friends or whatever, they're always hitting me up like, dude, I want to do that. That looks super freaking fun, man. Like I just don't know anybody who does it, so I don't want to go out there by myself and just do it. So kind of being that person to, I guess, essentially be like the holding hand to get into the sport. I think it's good.
Nice. That's so good. You got a group like that. Um, and that's, honestly, that is really one of those things that really separates like the top people is it does become an obsession. And I know guys who are like, on the way to becoming grandmaster or on the way to becoming, top ranked at nationals. It pretty much almost, or sometimes it did destroy their families and their marriages. And so it's good to have people call you out like that and tell you to just
Absolutely.
dial it back.
And when you think about it, it's kind of cringy to think, dude.
Hmm.
It's like I'm not
It's a
even really
game.
making money off of it. Yeah, dude. It's like
Yeah,
this is
it's
a
a
hobby,
game.
and I'm yeah, man.
But the question is, do you guys really think it's worth doing a hobby if you don't push it that far though? You know what I mean?
I think it depends.
Yeah.
I think it depends on what and I say depends. I think it depends on what you're trying to get out of it.
Hmm.
If you're trying to make this hobby I guess, a career, then you absolutely have to go full send and you have to have a good support system for it. But
Hmm.
I think for everyone else who's just kind of normal, like us, who just kind of do it for fun and we do it because we want to stay prepared and stay proficient, I think that's about, as much as we're going to get with it.
Yeah, I used to have aspirations of being a national, well-known firearms instructor, and so I was looking at other guys like what is Scott Jedlinski doing, or what are all these other guys doing that makes them so well known that they're training with, federal agencies and military units, and so as I'm trying to chart like what are all the steps I need to do, I start realizing that that's a tough life. These really well-known top firearms instructors, Matt Pranka was saying that she's traveling 300 days out of the year, and I'm like, I can't do that. I want to be around my family. I want to watch my son grow up. And so I just realized that it's not the thing for me. And even getting to the competition space, like I see these top level competition guys, and I'm like, I don't know if I really want to put in that much time, that much dry fire, that much effort, that much range time into becoming like a grandmaster. And so like what I want from it has really, really dialed down because for me, like I'm juggling. Right. So day job plus teaching gun classes on the weekends. Plus I am teaching cybersecurity classes at night. Plus I am doing property management for all the different properties that I own. Plus I am doing product development for stuff that I may not even sell, like all my different shotgun parts. I have a bunch of people asking me about these shotgun parts, but I'm like, I don't know if I want to get into like the sales and the marketing and then have to do customer service because I'm absolutely tapped out. And I realize that, I had added aspirations of at least trying to get to A class this year, but I realized that I I don't know if it's that important to me anymore.
100%. Yeah. Life, man. Life.
That's how it is. That's how it is.
Wait till you get older, Tanner.
I already feel old, man.
Tanner, you talk like a guy who's much older. I'll tell you that.
I'm an old soul, I'll tell you that much. Old
I
soul in a young
respect
body.
it. I respect it. Uh, and then we'll wrap up with one last fun question. So, one last fun question. What are some brands or equipment that you would not use now that you may have liked before and you wouldn't recommend to your friends and family or even for your personal use? You too, Koo.
I
We're
never
never gonna
liked
get
a SIG.
sponsored, so
I never
you
liked a
never liked
SIG.
Sig.
And not just because of the P320, but SIG in general. I never liked. Oh well, how about the SIG pistols? Because my opinion with the SIG pistols that the slide is unnecessary big,
Hmm.
and they have a
Yep.
lower capacity compared to other brands, and it's fucking expensive. And I feel like people who dedicate their life to SIG are people who can't shoot because but they dedicate their life to SIG because of the military stuff. So they want to be like feel like they're SF do or a what's that word? What's that word?
Operator.
Yeah, operator. Because for example, right? Every time when I see a person with a SIG Legion, guarantee you that 99.9% of the time those people can't shoot. I
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
remember
I
the
came I came up to Minnesota with the Sig Legion.
no, you didn't. You came with a SIG P320 Max.
Yeah, which is a Legion. I got the Legion coin to show you.
Oh,
It came with the Legion coin and everything.
then you're pretty gay
You know what
then.
sucks? You know what sucks about the whole 320 thing though is that I actually really like the gun.
I do too.
Then you
I
guys are
really
gay.
like it, and I wish none of this would have happened to Sig because I really do like the gun.
Stager says they're not bad guns if only they just didn't kill people.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
But to answer your question, dude, I
mm,
don't know, honestly. Like I really don't know. I mean, there's been a ton of products out there that I've obviously used and I was like, this is stupid. But now it's like it's almost like okay, so an example I'm thinking of is like my first red dot, which was a Vortex
mm,
Viper or Vortex
hmm.
Venom, one of those two pistol
Yeah.
red dots.
Yep.
And people all the time are like, dude, that thing's a piece of crap. Don't get it, don't get it. And I still got it. And like nowadays, you look at Vortex pistol optics, and they're pretty damn good. So, I mean, if we have to get specific, I guess just that Vortex Venom line. But nowadays, their Defender series are pretty legit. So it's like I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard some good things about it. And kind of a counterpoint to Coup, if the P320 wasn't uncommanded discharging and killing people, um, I really like it because SIG was doing the things that nobody else was doing, which is let's build a very modular gun and let's add in a lot of cool features that nobody else has done before. Like when they started coming out with like their macro comp series, right? And they started comping the slide rather than comping the barrel. That was pretty innovative. They were they were doing what else? There's a lot of cool stuff that they're doing with their P320 series, just like all the different fire control unit stuff with the different frames and the different slides and the customizability. And I really like that. And one of the things is that, I love Glock. I love how just simple and reliable they are. But, when you're the whole tagline for your company is perfection. That doesn't push you to improve. It makes you very stagnant. And when you look at the Glock line, it is very stagnant. They're great guns. But most anybody who has a Glock, and if they know what they're doing, it's really not going to be stock. Very, very few skilled shooters are shooting with like just a simple stock Glock. Um, and I think there is a lot of room for improvement with Glock, but I want SIG to be good. I think SIG as a company, they do a lot of scummy stuff, and I kind of hate that. There was an interview with James Reeves of the Firearm Blog. He was asking one of the SIG guys, like, why are your magazines so expensive? SIG magazines, they're like $60 to $80 for a pistol magazine, which is ridiculous. Um, and so when I got my first pistol, it was actually a SIG. It was SP 2022, right? And so you could get the Mech Guard magazine for about like $30, but the SIG magazine was like $50. And Mech Guard is the OEM for the magazine, right? And so SIG knows that they sell you the gun, you get a good price on it, and then they make their money on the magazines. So yeah, I would say that just in terms of like business practices, they're definitely one of the scummier companies. But man, I wish that wasn't the case because I do like having options. I do like having Flux Raider chassis, things like that, which is not SIG, but just having that capability. And there is that
Absolutely.
there is that rumor that Glock's gonna go with a fire control unit. I
Mhm.
don't know if that's been confirmed yet.
Yeah, I've heard rumors as well, but that seems to be the new norm, I guess, these days.
Hmm.
I'll choose Taurus over Saginity. Taurus. Taurus is not that bad, man. People just hate on it because it's cheap.
No, no, actually, they're so and here so cool. Remember you mentioned earlier about networking, right?
Yeah.
Um, when I was down in Florida, I actually got to meet the one of the marketing guys over at Taurus. Um, my my wife's my wife's dad, so my father-in-law actually lives in the same town where Taurus headquarters is at, and they sponsored a few matches down there in Florida. I met a bunch of their guys and actually asked about the company's reputation from back then to now, and they were happily telling me about how they're shifting a lot of their stuff over. A lot of it was over in Brazil. Now it's everything's in Bainbridge, Georgia. Um, they completely revamped all their equipment and all this stuff. So yeah, learned a bunch of that stuff. That matters.
I I like my Taurus skins. Their customer service is pretty good. I broke my TX22 and they got me a replacement slide in like 2 3 weeks. So it was a pretty good time frame. Much better than Holosun.
Oh yeah,
Holosun took 2 months.
I have a broken TX22 from Coup that I need to send over to them.
What?
They'll
Is
take
it
they'll take care
broken?
of you.
Is it broken already?
I haven't shot it yet, but it is
Oh,
still.
dude, they ain't gonna fix it, bro.
We'll
What
Because
see.
happened to it?
Christian said the customer
They,
service is good.
no,
yeah,
but
my slide cracked. Like the little retainer tab that holds the recoil spring that cracked off, and so they just replaced the whole slide.
So maybe I'll just come up with a story and be like, "Can you guys just send me a new slide?" And they'll send it over. I don't know. We'll see.
but
Do
then
it.
you
Do
will
it.
need a new slide release too.
That's fine.
Oh, but yeah. All right. Any more
But yeah,
question,
that's
Christian?
no, no. That's it. My wife is giving me the stink eye, so that's it.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
my
right,
wife's calling
Tanner.
too.
For the
What's up?
viewers, where can they find you?
Instagram, Tanner Liang underscore. Facebook, my name. YouTube, Tanner L.
All right. One last question for you, Tanner. When are you gonna start making contents again? Because that's how I was. That's how I found you. That's how I
Yeah,
recognized
dude.
you when we first met at Forest Lake.
Tanner, take
Yeah.
this dude to go do some content. This dude needs to make content.
Well, he keeps freaking texting me about it, but he won't ever come up with any plans. I'm like, okay, what do you want to do, man? I'll get back with you later. I'll talk
Yeah,
to you later.
I can't think of anything, man.
Honestly, I think once I get either my range set up, my private range set up a little bit more, or if I get a
Nice.
membership somewhere, I think that's
Nice.
like the biggest thing, bro, is just where
Yeah.
to shoot. Because
Exactly.
if we can get somewhere to shoot, dude, I'm down to just go make videos all day long, dude. I do not care. I love it. I love making videos. It's super fun.
Yeah, because I'm watching your content. So like, even though you don't post on YouTube, your like bold content, dude, that's some fucking high quality shit, man. And I was
Hmm.
like, why you're not posting? Like, why you're not doing contents? The reason why I'm still holding back my ideas is because I got no place to shoot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
gotcha. But we'll
But
get it. We'll get to it,
yeah.
dude.
All right. So that is all the time that we have. Tanner, we appreciate you taking your time to come and talk to us. So
Thank
yeah.
you guys.
All right. You guys have a good night. I'm gonna stop recording right now.